the support that the European Union is making here, it's absolutely outstanding. And the great majority of people here in Europe don't even know it.
So welcome everybody. We are having Pablo Vidarte here next to me, sitting and having his place on the stage at the noon. And he's the guy who's been in Forbes 30 under 30 in the age of 20. And then 1 year later or 2 years later you were there again?
1 year.
1 year, okay. Was it for the same reason or was there something different?
It was for the same reason, even though it was a little bit weird because the first one was the European list and the second one was the Spanish list. So okay. I actually assumed that it was because the Spanish list saw that I was in the European one and that I am Spanish. Okay. So they were like, why not?
Okay, and can you share your story, like why you were there? Because of clean energy, of course, but a little bit more about this, if you could tell us.
Well, I was there because what we do in our company is to create electricity from plants' photosynthesis.
Yeah.
And also from nature itself. I mean, right now we have 3 different technologies that are used for basically make any kind of interaction with nature and technology in order to create a symbiosis towards the energy of the future.
Yeah, that sustainable energy of the future. Can you a little bit just simply, not technical please, but simply explain how it's done?
For example, if I speak about one of the technologies that we use, which is the most useful one, we produce energy from any kind of natural environment. It could be just oil and water, for example. And what we do is use the resources that are found in a normal grass, for example. What you actually find there are microorganisms eating food, which are organic molecules. They eat them. When they eat them, they naturally liberate electrons. And when that happens in nature, the electrons just simply go away and they get lost. And they recombine with other molecules and that's it. But what we do is to catch those electrons with our batteries. And that's the cool stuff about it. We use nature, we actually promote nature without damaging it, and at the same time we create electricity.
Okay, it's nice. It's like if you could look at us like human, from like the above, you know, like the universe and so on, we could be also like the result of this.
Totally. Actually, what we do is just to create a microverse.
Okay.
With a lot of living beings inside that create energy for us.
Oh, yeah, so we were basically creating the platform for you. You've seen the movie Matrix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. It's like Matrix with microorganisms, literally.
Okay. So you're creating platform for like AI and for the future AI, and then they can use your...
Totally.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know if you guys actually watch Rick and Morty, for example.
Yeah,
they have the same thing. I mean, they created a universe to power the batteries of the car of the main character, and the microverse of that battery created another battery which was another microverse, and the thing goes on.
I've seen that episode. I know. Nice. How did you come up with this idea?
Actually, it's pretty kind of the typical story, because this came up from a dream at 3 a.m. I woke up and I said, fuck, can we actually treat the leaf of a plant as a solar panel? And the short answer was no. You can't, literally. But there are ways in which you could do it. I mean, I've just explained the technology, but what I did from then on was an intense investigation. As you may suppose, I didn't sleep that night. And then created a team from scratch with doctors and professors from the university, from nanotechs, engineers, friends of mine from the university.
What was the tough part about, like, was the tough part to persuade others that your idea should work and they should work on this, or what was the tough thing?
The tough thing in the beginning could be credibility.
Okay.
I mean, right now it's been 5 years since we started. We already have a cool company with people working inside and already with commercial lines in the market, but in the first months it was like, well, people were laughing at you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Totally, and it's kind of frustrating, but you know, it's even more empowering for you. I mean, it's like you're laughing now, but let's see in the future, and it's very cool, that feeling as well, because those people then, in my case at least, then they want to help you, and they see that it is a fact that it is possible to do that, and it's very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So we actually had a lot of obstacles, as you may imagine. I mean, the technology is not something easy at all. Yeah. We actually even made a first campaign that was actually a total success until it was a total failure, because we realized that we couldn't industrialize the product in a large scale. That was the first year, and during a whole year, during the second year, we were intensively looking for a way to actually industrialize these batteries, and we achieved that.
You achieved it already?
Yeah, that was a huge success also, but when talking about the campaign, we simply had to give the money back in that case, which is something that they don't normally use. To do.
Tell us about the website or something that people they can check it, because it's so interesting, and I'm sure that everybody want to see this or something like.
Yeah, well, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to write bio with one extra O. It's BIOO.
Okay.
Exactly.
.com.
.tech.
.tech.
But actually, if they look for bio with two O's in Google, it's just the first link.
Nice.
I hope.
So if I should just simply imagine, is there some like huge block of flats or some industry building that is powered by leaves?
Actually, one of the products that is still not on launch onto the market, but it's one of the coolest. It's basically a panel that you place below the soil of your garden, and it simply produces energy out of the soil. Simply, you know, it's basically a structure like this, and you just hide it below. And you can use your garden as you normally use it. So it's pretty straightforward. And the cool thing is that what we expect is that with a 10 by 10 meter garden, it will be enough to power a whole house. Okay. Which is kind of very cool, by the way. But
you need to have a lot of trees inside of your garden, or is it enough just to have some
I'm talking just with average grass.
Okay.
Cool. The thing here is that, and this is the cool fact about our technology, is that even though we don't produce more energy than the solar panels, for example. I mean, the solar panels produce a lot of energy, and precisely when they have sun, they produce a lot more. But what we do is to produce less energy, but in a constant basis, during day and night. Doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing. And for once, we depend on a resource that we do know how to control, which is agriculture itself. Because when you have a solar panel, you depend on clouds, and you depend on day and night times. When you have a wind turbine, you depend on wind. But if you want to have something at home that you know how to control and it's renewable, this could be a great chance.
Yeah, definitely, because while creating solar panels is a waste of energy, and it's not that sustainable. A lot of
and it's kind of useless in terms of space preservation. I mean, if you place a solar panel, that space is for the solar panel itself, and it's like a black square that is just there and forget about it. But if you place one of these panels, it's an absolute game changer, because it's just hidden and you can use that space as you would normally use. And in fact, that space is used for having nature, which is pretty cool as well. Our vision for the long term is to create a great leap in order to make forests or even farms the solar stations of the future. So that if we have, for example, a selfish company that was used to buy forest fields in order to cut the trees down, right now it will be because they want to produce energy. But to make the trees become better trees.
That sounds amazing and huge and like really revolutionary. I can bet that Elon Musk is gonna call you like, hey guys, what's up? Or maybe he has already called you.
Well, Elon Musk is one of my greatest idols right now. I mean, I love Elon Musk, and he hasn't called me yet.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. By the
Elon,
way,
come on, let's
Elon,
pick up the
come
phone.
on, it's not that difficult.
You share your schedule when he could call you.
Not really. I also have a tough schedule. not that kind of tough schedule, but I mean, he's pretty busy with really cool projects, and I love them. The only thing I can say right now is that if Elon Musk is interested, I'm pretty open to do something with him. But of course, we will continue our way, even though we don't find any other kind of help, because it's not that we don't need it, just the other way around. We do need help always, but you have to try even when the odds are against you. It's pretty typical as well, that sentence, but you always have to do it, at least if you believe in that.
Okay, and where are you located, in Spain or in America?
In Spain.
In Spain.
I am from Seville, greatest city ever, by the way, but we are located in Barcelona.
In Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and during this experience, you said like it has lasted for 5.5 years already with this idea?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
The company has 4 years, the project is more than 5.
I'm sure that you have traveled around many conferences and so on. Have you traveled around all the world talking about this?
Yeah, quite literally. I was even in Kazakhstan.
In Kazakhstan?
Representing Spain, because they invited us in the Expo of Energies of the Future. There was from Putin to any other kind of president there. And also, for example, we were in the Council of the 100. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs invited us to that council, which was created by Emmanuel Macron. And it's a council of 100 people from 9 different countries to create very huge projects. And it was really cool, and we developed them in Palermo, in Tunis, and in Marseille. And you know, I mean, right now I'm in Bratislava, but we had meetings and conferences all around the world, and it's been a huge journey.
Okay, I assume that nowadays already after 5 years, more than 5 years, like governments and so on, they are all trying to help you, right? Am I right? Or are there some barriers, like some lobbies or so on?
We actually got into contact with many lobbies from the oil industries. Not that we
like
contacted them,
right?
but the other way around. And in the end, we basically didn't work with them. But we are working with big companies that produce energy, just that they are effectively creating a transition. They are placing solar panels and stuff because they are just energy providers. Those that are specifically oil companies or similar, well, we are just keeping away from them for the time being, but not really great barriers right now. I mean, the great barriers that we have right now is time and investment.
Time and investment. Okay. Why time? I mean, like you got some budget that you have some run out, let's say 2 years or so on, or is
yeah, we could say it like that, and also that you need a great team for the research and development that we're doing, and you know, research and development. Even though we already have some things in the market, the things that still have to be launched, the cooler things, you know, they require money and time, and you never know really the specific time until you basically have it.
But you know, how long has Uber been here and it was not profitable at all? Never.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like when there's some game changer, it's like this. I got the feeling that Silicon Valley, these companies there, they're just, we raise so much money, we raise more, we can spend more, and it's just the race who can spend more money.
Totally. Sometimes it's just like that.
Okay.
In our case, we were pretty lucky because even the European Union invested in us. They invested in 2 of our projects during 2 consecutive years. Since 2017, and well, in that case, it was pretty good. I mean, because a company like this, it's not that easy to survive in Europe just with private investment, because there's not that much private investment right now in Europe for that.
Yeah, it's not like in America.
Yeah, in America they are way crazier.
So if people would like maybe to check this place, like like physical, they come to Barcelona, is there a chance to check this?
Yeah, we actually make visits, but you of course have to contact us before, and we should schedule it a little bit better.
Okay, and
but we do that.
And how many people are there working for this project right now?
I mean, right now we are not a huge company. We're like 20 people involved in the company, talking about 24/7, but not 24/7. Sorry, it should be like 8/5, but full time working there. And after all, we are working with a lot of companies apart from ours. I mean, just one of our projects involved 9 different entities from all around Europe. Other projects involve different distributors from different locations in the world. Right now we're working with more than 8 different countries. So it's like we might be a core of 20 people, but we are like a huge network.
Okay, great. Is there anything that we would like to share with our viewers, or maybe to give them some idea when they have some revolutionary idea what to do like the first and so on?
So if you had a revolutionary idea, you're asking basically what should you do at first? Well, first of all, try it. I mean, look for your friends, ask them what do they think. What do you need to make it a fact, something real? And then basically go for it. But you first of all need to do the first thing. Just when you achieve something that is a fact, something that is credible, something that that people need, that people want, only then is when you have to make this next leap, because normally people don't actually do that. They kind of test it, but not that much. Not enough to know if investors are going to like it, not enough to know if the market is going to like it. And that is one of the main problems that people normally have.
Yeah, okay. One more question. Who was the entity, person or company or venture capital, whatever, that helped you in this way, in the biggest way,
Well, the European Union.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
They were the highest investors by far.
Yeah, but probably not only investors, like with funding, but also with the
They gave us coaching, they gave us resources, places where to find investors. There is a huge platform here in Europe and a huge investment that you will never find either in America or in any other country in the world. Well, country, it's Europe, but actually the support that the European Union is making here, it's absolutely outstanding. And the great majority of people here in Europe don't even know it, but it is true. They are helping us a lot, and it's not just us as Bioo, it's us as a society that wants to create things in general.
Okay, that's interesting information for me at the end of this talk, because not so many people there are so enthusiastic about governments and about the help from the state and so on, because of bureaucracy and corruptions and many things.
Yeah,
many different
I do believe, for example, in a federal Europe. However, of course, there are too many things that need to be improved. But as in any country, I mean, there is corruption in basically every country. Of course, not to speak about the most northern countries in Europe, because, okay, they're not that bad. But, after all, I think that every argument that speaks about separating people and making it more difficult for people to unite, it's something that is not helpful. Because that's not the way to fight corruption. That's just another way to isolate from the world.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad that you could be here, that I could have you here on this interview. It was very nice to meet you in person.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure as well.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed a little bit.
And I hope and I believe that I will see the third Forbes where you're gonna be.
Let's see.
Okay, thank you once again. See you.
See you.